Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and in our top stories today from Mediaite. Sonny, I voted for my son Hostin, forced to read legal note on The View. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations. Well, he's in the position to do so because the situation and or allegations or accusations were not true in any way, shape, or form. If you guys want to go into more detail, you can always go by the BuzWeaver channel and go and watch the establishment in the DOJ and FBI prepare to answer for their lawfare. And I go into much more detail about Matt Gaetz there. But just a brief review, as Charlie Kirk outlines, I've had enough of this so-called House ethics report on Matt Gaetz. The underlying allegations are all so laughable and flimsy that only the purpose of it is to smear Gaetz. And that's exactly what's happening. And as of this recording, it is Thursday, November the 21st, 2024, and Matt Gaetz has stepped aside as Attorney General. And in this article, where it says Trump AG picked Matt Gaetz, says he's withdrawing. He mentions, I had an excellent meeting with senators yesterday. I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many, Gaetz said in a statement posted on X account. While the momentum was strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work for the Trump-Vance transition team, as it were, said the former Republican congressman from Florida. And it's unfortunate. Now, there might be half a dozen other reasons why he's withdrawing, but of course, one of those is going to be, as we've talked about here on the BuzWeaver channel for the last 4 years, if the left can cling to anything, if they can hang on to anything, and it doesn't even have to be true. How many times have we talked about the January 6th comment from MSNBC clearly stating that the Senate had cleared Donald Trump of inciting what happened there? And, of course, the FBI from, I think that was from the AP. No, it was from Reuters, saying that there was no coordinated effort. So it doesn't matter. The left is always going to find some way to disrupt and create issues no matter what. And so what would happen is, just like we hear the hard left, of course, always saying, convicted felon president-elect, convicted felon is convicted felon that, which that is falling apart also. But not to bury the lead here, we're going to go back to Sonny Hostin. But yeah, so Matt Gaetz has now stepped aside as of today. This is Thursday, November the 21st. And because of this nonsense, and of course, this is what we've also talked about when it comes to politicians, is that they hold these types of things over each other. So if they want to keep each other in control, and I'm talking about politicians across the board, not just one party versus another party. I'm talking about politicians across the board. They always have this one thing in their pocket in case they need to pull it out and use it against somebody. But these false allegations are false because it stems from Joel Greensberg, who was a business partner, an acquaintance of Matt Gaetz, who got angry with him and decided, of course, to go full nuclear nonsense on him. But yeah, so if you guys want to check that out, by all means, stop by my channel and watch that video there, because that will be everything you need to know. But let's get into the actual story here. So The View co-host Sonny, I voted for my son Hostin, was forced to read out a legal note on Tuesday, acknowledging that Attorney General nominee Matt Gaetz was long denied all allegations of misconduct against him and that a criminal investigation closed with no charges being brought, right? Because, of course, nothing was there. After the co-host of The View discussed President-elect Donald Trump's list of nominees, including Gaetz, and the allegations against him, Whoopi Goldberg abruptly declared, Sonny, you have a legal note. And let's take a listen to it.
It's a TV cabinet. Maybe he's doing it because he wants to make sure they look good on screen.
Well done, Gaetz.
Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, they'll be right back, as she had to do that very dispassionately, probably much to her chagrin. And, of course, we may even have to see Jimmy Kimmel offer one as well. He's on ABC, The View being on ABC, because obviously these allegations are false. Absolutely, categorically false. But, of course, as we mentioned here on the BuzWeaver channel, the left will continue to cling to anything they can use to suggest that he was accused of these things, whether or not it was, and it doesn't matter that it was completely false. They will always use this same language over and over again. But according to Matt, I guess he figures that it was too much of a distraction. And, of course, the media is going to continue to make it a distraction. I even saw it here on my local news station talking about this. But, of course, they always have to cleverly and carefully mention that, that no allegations were brought up. Or I should say that there was no confirmation of this to have happened. Of course, they don't mention the investigation by the Department of Justice. They just mention that as an aside, just to get people's attention. It's just evil, just ridiculous. But it's a good thing that she had to read that, right? Goldberg then announced, "We'll be right back," as the show cut to commercials. Minutes prior to the co-host of The View discussing the misconduct allegations against Gaetz, Hostin said, "Within the Department of Justice, you have the unit, which is what I was part of, child sex crimes and child trafficking. How could you nominate someone with allegations of child trafficking or trafficking across state lines and performing adult activities, so forth and so on?" As you can see, and this is what they were trying to push, and that was categorically incorrect and false. But for the longest time, for the last 4 years, the media has gotten away with this nonsense. They have gotten away with it because their attitude, like Judge Michon and Judge Engeron and Letitia James and Fonnie Willis here in Atlanta, they do it because their attitude is, who's going to stop us? Who is going to do anything about it? And this is why it was important, for example, that someone like Matt Gaetz become the Attorney General. But I think because they will continue to hold this over his head. Now, this was Matt's decision. This was no one else's decision. This was Matt's decision. So, but the big ask that Trump is doing right now doesn't necessarily mean that each of these individuals are going to be able to get those positions. So that's something else to keep in mind, is although Matt was picked and these other individuals are picked, doesn't necessarily mean they'll make it through confirmation or that they'll selectively at the end of it be picked. So lots of things going on when it comes to that. But the fact is that the mainstream media is now not necessarily backing many of their hosts or individuals that appear on their shows because they realize now Trump is in office. There's a new sheriff in town. Things are going to be much different. And this probably will be a minor victory or a perceived minor victory by the left and the Democrats and even the media, because I think it was the New York Times. Oh, it was the New York Post someone had posted. I think it was Jack Posobiec was saying that that New York Post wanted Matt Gaetz to step aside because of this reason, that reason, and the other. So this is the unfortunate situation, which is what differentiates politicians from Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't back down and give up and move aside. And I'm not necessarily saying that Matt Gaetz capitulated and bent the knee and decided to move away because of pressure from the left or from Democrats, but it is a perfect illustration, as we have talked about, how politicians and the government and the club within the government keeps each other in check by always having something they can hold over someone else. And it's unfortunate that it had to happen this way. But I am glad that Sonny, I voted for my son Hostin, had to read this notice because, being the smug, snark person that she was, reading what she said as I read down below about what she said on the show, this would be defamation and liability. And defamation, right, and slander. So it had to be addressed. But fascinating, is it not, that now, as of today, as of this recording, we find out that Matt Gaetz has withdrawn on his own. So things are always fascinating. Let me know down in the comments section, guys, what your thoughts are about this situation. Are you glad that there's accountability now? Are you glad that these networks and others are being more aware of their situation and obviously they're going to be held accountable if they continue pushing these sorts of narratives and so forth. But of course, they did the same thing to Donald Trump for the last 4 years. So whoever he picks as AG, I hope that they will continue to pursue this type of nonsense here. But I would like to get your thoughts down in the comments below. And, of course, I want to thank all you guys across New Tech, that's BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey, for your guys' continued support. And, of course, everyone here on YouTube, that would be the channel icon you see appearing there on the screen. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys tomorrow in the Friday Vlog.